It's that time again. It is time for another bullet review. Today we're reviewing the 180 grain Hornady ELD match. I know I did an ELD match last bullet review, but I shoot a lot of ELDs, so we will be reviewing quite a few of them. I do have some other reviews for other types of bullets. One next week I think everybody will really enjoy that is not an ELD. But this week, this is another bullet that I am really familiar with. It's another one that I have shot a ton, have a lot of information on, so that's what we're going to do today. So, we're shooting this is the 180 grain Hornady ELD match. It is their heaviest ELD in the 7mm 284 caliber genre. It is, like I said, it is a 180 grain bullet. It has a sectional density of 0.319. It has an advertised G1 ballistic coefficient of 0.796 and a advertised G7 of 0.401. Now, I will say, like I said in the 108 grain ELD review, the Hornady has most companies do have a tendency to exaggerate their ballistic coefficients, and Hornady does a real good job of that. I don't know, like I said, how they go about determining the numbers they're going to put on a box, but they are always exaggerated in my personal experience. I have trued this bullet just recently. Actually, as of yesterday, I took this rifle out to 1,930 yards. I'll be posting a video of that here very soon. If it's not already out before this video, I'm not sure exactly how that'll work. But I trued this bullet all the way out to, I adjusted my drag curve after the fact. I had it only off 2/10 at 1925 or 1930. So at 1,930 yards, this bullet has been trued through this rifle. Now that is, like I said in the 108 grain, the 6mm video, that is true through this rifle and this barrel. You may not get the same true results that I have. As a matter of fact, you probably won't get the same true results. You may have better, you may have worse, but you will not. I would be very surprised if somebody got the same results that Hornady puts on their box. So, an advertised G1 of 0.796, and my trued G1 turned out to be 0.703. So, almost a 0.1 difference in trued BC to advertised BC. G7, they're advertised as 0.401. I have trued this bullet, same distance, 1,930 yards, with a 0.353. So, very, very different from the 0.05 difference in G7. I know it's snowing out here, but it was a good time to do this. The kids were in the house and being good. So, the overall length of this bullet is 1.54 inches. And even though it is not, I will say, even though the advertised BC in my personal circumstance was quite exaggerated, it's still a phenomenal ballistic coefficient. 0.7 is an outstanding G1, and 0.35 is an outstanding G7 ballistic coefficient. If you don't know how they go about determining those, I gave kind of a layman's explanation of determining ballistic coefficients in the last video that I did, talking about the difference between ballistic coefficient or balancing ballistic coefficient and velocity. So if you want to get an idea of what the drag models that they use to determine ballistic coefficients off of, go back and look at that. I gave a example of a G1 and a G7 drag model, and so that'll kind of give you a better idea of how they go about determining ballistic coefficients. So anyway, still a very, very respectable ballistic coefficient at 0.35 G7. The thing is an extremely flat shooting, extremely forgiving bullet. It fights the wind really well. You'll see that in my video shooting it out to 1.1 miles. The thing is unbelievably, and I plan to take it out much further than that. And this will more than likely, if not almost guaranteed, be the bullet that I take this rifle out to well beyond 1.1 miles. So, like I said, it is a very respectable ballistic coefficient, even though it's a little bit exaggerated, maybe even a lot exaggerated from Hornady. There are no factory offerings as far as I could find. I have not been able to find any factory offerings that load the 180 grain ELD-M. So if you're running a 7mm, if you want to shoot this very high ballistic coefficient bullet, it's pretty much hand load or nothing. So like I said, this is the heaviest 7mm in Hornady's catalog, heaviest at least in the ELD catalog. I'm pretty sure the heaviest out of all of their 7mm. They may have, I take that back, I'm sure they have a new A-tip out by now in 7mm that is heavier than this. But beyond the A-tips, this is their heaviest 7mm. The way they go about creating such a high ballistic coefficient in just a small 7mm bullet is this bullet has a very long bearing surface. So a very long bearing surface and a very not too sharp angled secant ogive, which allows for a super aerodynamic shape. So that is how they get a very almost an identical boat tail to the secant ogive. So super aerodynamic bullet, super aerodynamic shape, and of course it's got the Hornady heat shield, whatever they call it, red tip on it. Gives it a very good me-plat. So extremely efficient, effective bullet for long range and even extreme long range, and I plan to really, like I said, stretch this bullet out, so we will maybe be coming back to this and giving some more information when I stretch it out even further. This bullet is not extremely expensive. That's another great thing about the Hornady ELD line. They offer an extremely aerodynamic, extremely high ballistic coefficient bullet per calibers for a lot less than a lot of the other bullets that you will find in the same class and bullet weight and caliber. So you're going to find this bullet for a box of 100 anywhere from around $29 to $34 per 100. And like I said, that is an extremely reasonable price for such a high quality, high ballistic coefficient bullet that shoots extremely repeatable. I've had no problem getting these things to shoot repeated 3/8, sub half minute, sub even 3/8 minute groups repeatedly with this 180 grain ELD. So that is my review of the 180 grain Hornady ELD match. If you guys are interested in this bullet, you can find more information on it from Hornady on their website. So I hope if you guys were looking at this bullet, or anybody was thinking about loading this bullet, this gives you a little more information on it. It may help you decide that this is or is not the way for you to go. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.
Let's back that up with one more here. There we go.